here from the Next Tissue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a retro review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003, not to be confused with, I don't know, a plethora of other Texas Chainsaw movies. Uh, this movie has a runtime of an hour and 38 minutes, which I feel like that is the sweet spot for my horror movies. And I think it's rated R, if I hadn't mentioned. As of the recording of this video, this has a Rotten Tomato score of 37% for the critics, which feels way too harsh. 58% for the audience, and a letterbox average rating of 2.9, which is very much, yeah, it's very much in line with what I expected, I think. So, this movie is directed by Marcus Nispel and with a screenplay by Scott Kozer, of course, based on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, and it stars Jessica Biel as Erin, Jonathan Tucker as Morgan, Erica Learson as Pepper, Mike Bogle as Andy, Eric Balfour as Kemper, Andrew Bransky as Thomas Hewitt, aka Leatherface, and R. Lee Emery as Sheriff Hoyt. You'll definitely recognize him. I think Jessica Biel and R. Lee Emery are two of the more recognizable people in this film. Eric Balfour too. I think you probably saw him around. Very handsome dude. So you definitely saw him around in a lot of those, mid 2000s films. Uh, so why am I watching this film? Or I guess why did I watch this film? As we are in the Halloween season, I wanted to I wanted to kind of look at some stuff that I've talked about in the past, um, and I just kind of started with this. This is kind of the movie that, for me, kicked off this era of remakes, of horror remakes from the 2000s. I did a whole show on my buddy Rob Fishbeck's network with my friend Lego, where we just kind of talked about a lot of these 2000 remakes. I'll drop a link to that show down in the description where we really get in depth. But this one kind of kicked it all off for me. Growing up as a late teens, uh, I was deep into Seventh Heaven, so Jessica Biel, like I was definitely gonna check out anything that she did, and I had never seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre before this, so I also really wanted to just kind of dive into that world, right? And this really hooked me into just checking out all those remakes from the 2000s. So really fun stuff. I From the beginning of this film, we're following this group of young kids, young adults, whatever you want to call them. It's hard to tell their ages, but they're definitely in their late teens at the youngest. But they're coming back from Mexico. They're going to a concert, and of course, they are traveling in the highway in Texas, and things just start happening. Very unfortunate things start happening. They run into this woman who seems to be in trouble, in peril. They aid her, and I just love that the film just kind of got started like very quickly, right? There's a lot of really gory imagery, and it kicks off from the beginning. There's a really cool shot, content warning for suicide. This young woman shoots herself, and you see there's a shot of the camera, like you kind of see it through the bullet through her head, and it is it is just gnarly. Um, but yeah, this film, like I think, not having seen the original, they definitely did not try to recreate that same emotion or tension. They knew that they had to do something very different, and they went with this like super dirty, super grimy look. Like just at every turn, there's something more and more gross that kind of comes up in this film, but not in a crude way. It's just really like it really feels like they kind of earned the gore and the griminess of this film. Everything feels like it's hot, like it's dirty, like it's sweaty, like just it just from like all I think the main thing about that film is that it really just feels like that for throughout the whole time. uh, you know, the film has a very good pacing. It's just very quickly like every 30 minutes something's really big is happening, so it really kind of keeps you. And then in between those 30 minutes, of course there's plenty of stuff going around, and the kids start getting into trouble, they start getting separated, like all the little tropes are there, everything's there. But 30 minutes in, we really get into it. That's when we first see Leatherface take out, well, I believe it's Kemper, who is the first victim. And I just think that, separating like that, taking them back to, like, leaving these characters with no choice, with no, like, the feeling of helplessness, because they're stuck in the middle of nowhere, Texas. They're stuck in the middle of nowhere with all these, like, weirdos, really. Like these people are there because they just want to do all this kind of messed up stuff, that kind of, it all leads up to this Leatherface character. But that's their community, that's how they kind of get their kicks. It's just, it's really weird. It's gross, like I said, it's gross, but I think, just, I don't know, it's something that I found appealing at the time, and maybe that's just kind of ingrained in my head. uh One thing I noticed in this rewatch is that there's a lot of stuff that happens just in the middle of the day. It doesn't, they don't wait till it gets dark. Like, this is stuff is just happening in the middle of the day, which is very, it feels very odd for a horror film to kind of do stuff like that in the middle of the day with a lot of light, right? I think uh, our Lee Emre's Sheriff Hoyt plays it so close to the vest until he doesn't. Like, from the get go, he's just an asshole. But there's so much more there that we didn't even know, right? So, yeah, as you kind of get into the film, even his own little actions, his reactions start revealing that maybe he's in cahoots with everything that's going on. But yeah, just the revelations of how there is no one that can help them because everyone around is in on it. Just, yeah, it just dives deeper and deeper into it. We see Leatherface first wearing Kemper's face in front of Jessica Biel, who's, there were a couple in the film, and just like everything that happens to Jessica Biel, I think she makes a really good final girl. Um, is just really, like, you feel bad, you follow her around, and like I mentioned at the time, Jessica Biel also playing a very different character from like stuff that we had seen her in prior. So yeah, I think that was also a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of gore, there's a lot of, like, you get to see some really messed up things. You get to see how these characters are not just taken to be killed, they're taken to kind of be kept around, uh, so they can kind of just mess around with them, play around with them. It's really messed up stuff. But I also think it's not in a way that it's too too over the line. Like, I my sensitivity for stuff like that, like gore, has definitely diminished as I've gotten older. And even this film, like, I still watched it with no issues. There's not a, I can't think of, maybe there's one scene or two. There's one scene where Leatherface is running around and he trips and the chainsaw goes into his own leg. That was pretty gnarly. But overall, like, I think it was great. Also, Leatherface, I think, has a great design. He really feels like this gigantic brute. I think the mask also looks very menacing. Like, looks like it's worn in. Like, yeah, the character thing looks fantastic. But also, a lot of these evildoers, they get their comeuppance, and that's something that you kind of want to see at the end of your story. So yeah, this movie, it's by no means a masterpiece, but I just really love revisiting it. So yeah, I'm very excited to have gone back for it. uh, just stay tuned in the channel, because we'll be talking about another movie in the same kind of Leatherface world that was definitely not as good. So I'll definitely be doing a video for that later on. And stay tuned, because I'll be revisiting some other things. As you can see, we started a journey down the Paranormal Activity franchise, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, let me know if there's any other films that you recommend from probably that same period of time, from around the early to mid aughts or even the 2010s, let me know, because there's a lot of stuff that I need to revisit or maybe check out or maybe just make a video. And there's already some of that stuff on the channel, but yeah, it's always fun to kind of go back and revisit some of these films. So if you have seen this film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone.